On the subject of mage junglers, what would have to happen to enable burst mages? It's definitely something we've talked about. I don't know if anyone's considered it super seriously, or like what would it require to make pretty much any champion jungle. Like actually, this is funny. Yesterday at the office, myself, Freak, and August were talking about like what would it take to make SORAKA jungle a thing, like the ambulance, right? Not seriously by any means, but just like as a thought experiment, what would it take, or like, and what would it look like? These are the kinds of discussions we have a lot. Honestly, burst mage jungle is one of the more fun ones, so that's probably been had, a conversation that's been had more than once. A lot of burst mages don't really make sense in the jungle because they don't have a way to, like they don't have a thing that we would buff that would make sense for them to jungle. Some of this depends on your definition of burst mage, right? But like Lissandra, we could make a jungler by like making her Q very powerful against jungle monsters, right? That makes sense, right? But like Lux, I look at Lux and I say, what spell are we putting a jungle mod on that makes sense, that makes her a jungler? Like her passive? Like she only has 2 spells normally, right? She has Q and E. And that doesn't really make her a jungler. It's hard to imagine what that would look like for most of these champions. I think some, there are like spells or passives or whatever that you can point to and be like, that we could put a jungle mod on that and it will work. And then they'll also have a functional ganking pattern, right? Lissandra is one that's been discussed a lot in the past, but I think most people are of the opinion that Lissandra jungle would be supremely messed up if she could functionally clear and then show up in your lane and E on you and then WR you, right? That's a pretty messed up pattern, or RW, whatever. Either way, I think it's hard to imagine what a burst mage jungle looks like for most of those kits. Without some like ludicrous mod that would very clearly impact the way that they play lane, right? It's like, because if we mod Lux E to do an insane amount of damage to camps, she's gonna kill the Raptors as a mid laner, right? And that's gonna be like a thing that she does. Like that's gonna be part of her power budget. And we do not want to revisit the like Morgana situation we had originally, where when we put in the first version of the jungle Morgana changes, she was actually really powerful in other roles, like support, for example, because she was doing a lot of damage to monsters. Same thing with like Blitzcrank, for example. Like Blitzcrank, the jungle Blitzcrank stuff made Blitzcrank support go up like 2 or 3%, somewhere in that realm. It was a lot, and it's like, yeah, it's hard to imagine what that looks like for burst mages that doesn't affect their lane. I'm not saying it's impossible, just like it's difficult for most of the kits.